All right, Monday, March 14, Design Guide Jam Session number 22. We'll hop right in. Pav already just mentioned that a new contributor, I think his name's Steven, contributed a whole bunch of typo fixes, proofread a ton of things, posted lots of updates, which is super excellent. Always makes me realize about my own writing, how many typos slip through. So that's excellent. And there was another one that came. You just merged that one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But otherwise, things that I was thinking about we could talk about today was just review the roadmap, discuss where we are with our two big milestones, Lightning refinements and website usability. And then discuss research, because Mo is here. She likes to do some research, and there's a good issue that Pav you created in November that we could pick up again. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss today?
On my end, no, this sounds like a good plan. I think it's good that we review a roadmap and our teams out a little bit, and then, yeah, I'm excited to hear what Mo has to say about the research. So this seems like a good plan to me. Let's go.
Yeah, it seems like enough stuff to cover. Probably be taking an hour to go over that stuff. So
I have no idea why Christoph just put my name next to research. I feel like I've prepared a whole speech about research. Have I not? No. So I'm not quite sure what Christoph preempted, but
no, just make it. Just having fun. No worries.
Yeah, we can share what we've been having in our conversations back and forth. That's basically it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at the Lightning refinements. I think the last few weeks there were two big things that made it into the guide, which were the contacts page, which was a lot of back and forth, and I got more feedback on Twitter, big discussions around BIP 47, and then Bosch, your request, rewrite, restructure, which was also a ton. And now we still there's one bigger PR around the Lightning services page.
just a comment on regarding the requesting page. I was going to do a Twitter thread like you, but I was just waiting for Stephen to release his QR website, because that was kind of one of the big changes that I made in the requesting page, and I thought it'd be good to reference that in the tweet so people can go kind of have a look there and see the kind of what's going on with that campaign that he's pushing forward.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that was a conversation Bosch and I had, that, you know, when something gets merged on GitHub, nobody cares in the world, right? People are not waiting there looking, let me just see when something gets merged and check out the new page and figure out what's new. It's more so that we have to like put it out there and say, hey, this is what we changed. It's just made it in. Make sure to check this out. Made a short video, posted on Twitter, and just let people know. So that was just Bosch's going to put something together for the request page. Hey, Mr. No Face and Nifimi. We just started reviewing what we have going on in the work.
I think No Face is John's.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Screw you. Hey.
I see you said John's before you changed it.
Should we bleep that out in the upload later? Totally
my pseudonym discovered me.
Okay.
Mo, you
I think your mic's muted, Mo.
I can hear him.
No, I was like, he's totally undercover. That's why he changed his name. Just keeping it, you know.
I think you're better off with fellow Jitster. That's the ultimate. How are Pav and Johns? How are you doing? Did you recover well from Istanbul hackathon?
No, doing a bunch of bolt fun stuff, and it's just really, really heavy right now. There's like 8 days until the hackathon, and it's a lot of work.
Well, if you have time, even after this call, I'd be keen to chat about it a bit. If you need any help or you want to soundboard some ideas with us, I'd be keen to help out.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I could give you an update on like where everything else was. Like after the call, we could talk about it.
Okay, cool. Then let's focus back on the lightning section. So I think with so there are two more. What I'm trying to look at is what are some of the big things we need to do and what are the small things. And there's a page about liquidity, which is just an idea right now that came out of the Learning Bitcoin and Design call with Stephen to better explain liquidity. And there's another one for a Lightning Services page that Bosch's working on. But I think otherwise it's just a lot of small stuff. The question here for the whole group is just, do we want to coordinate? Do we want to right now go through and everybody can just say, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then, or do we just kind of want to leave it open?
I've got all the content done for the LSP. I've been working on the images a lot longer than I expected to today, so been kind of getting better at my, I guess, artistic side of things. So trying to make something look cool. But I have some designs that I'll probably share tomorrow or early Wednesday. But yeah, they're just like visual designs, like to make things look nice, not technical, but pretty much the content's laid out, and then it's not a huge page, so I should be able to review it this week and hopefully get it merged by the weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be a really good one to merge in. And then it's just a lot of small stuff. So I feel like we could either say, okay, we're going to do a sprint and we'll just work through all of these, and that'll be the main focus. Here in the messages, Fatwa, hope I said that correctly. Welcome. This is your first session. Thanks. Glad to have you here. So we're discussing right now kind of what everyone's working on, and of course you're right in the middle of people who have worked on this for a long time. We kind of have our rhythm going on. To get you started right now, have you already reviewed the contribute page? There are two things. One is contributing to the community as a whole, and the other thing is contributing to the guide itself. I will put that second link in there real quick. So that's kind of the more practical, like, hey, here's how you propose a change and you know, how to do that. But the bigger thing is first, like finding something that you actually want to contribute to, like something that you want to help with. For that, it's good to, we can make good suggestions if you share a little bit about what you'd like to do. Like, are you very technical? Are you very into this visual design side? These types of different things would be helpful to know, and then we can give you some pointers. In order to not hijack the whole call here, should we have a chat about that on Slack, maybe? You're welcome to reach out to me or anybody else here on the call on Slack as well. But otherwise, if that's okay, I'll leave it at that for now, and we can discuss separately. Or you can ask some specific questions. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking, and it might be helpful to you, or it might not. So feel free to post questions here in the Slack too. Okay. Okay, cool. And you can abuse the Slack here. I'll just keep going here with the other things we have on the agenda. But great to have you here. Hopefully we can find something good that you're interested in. Okay, so that was Lightning. So what I was just about to say, I think we kind of have two options here. Either we say, okay, we just do a milestone, we get all the Lightning stuff out of the way, and that'll be it. Or we do a milestone, we just focus the next 3 weeks, the next sprint, if you will, on the reframing of how we navigate the site, which is a big task that Bosch, I think he talked about that last time too, has been eager to get started with, right? So whichever one we choose, the other one will be a little bit more neglected. I think the lightning stuff is fairly small, so maybe it's better to kick off the big one and kind of make that a primary task, because if we re-architect kind of the navigation and how people experience the site, that's probably something we should make sure we have everybody's thoughts around, that we very publicly push forward with kind of a focused effort. What do you think?
Well, if anyone, like, I guess, wants to put their hand up for any issues in the lightning refinements, I guess we could assign people in this call. I know we do that quite a bit in these jam sessions. I'll assign myself to the point of sale terminals. That's a real small issue, but I made it. I guess I'll get that done later this week or early next week.
Okay, I just added you in here. Yeah, see, for me, I can do all of these. I don't have a particularly super strong interest in any of them.
There's the LN channel reserve and the other one that Steve made, guidance on delayed payments. I think we're wanting to look into those a bit more before I kind of thought about making content around those.
Delayed payments like trampoline payments and stuff like that, and huddle invoices.
He didn't mention those, but I guess we could kind of go into that if we wanted to. Yeah, like there could be things we mentioned. He said sometimes a payment is delayed for potentially hours, could wind up successful or fail due to either A, a mobile wallet that is offline holds a payment like Moon, or B, or an intermediary routing node for some reason delays a payment. Likely rare, but possible.
So there's a little bit of info in the guide already at this link that I just shared. But I think the other thing is when the other node cannot be reached, and say something like, hey, send them a message to turn on their wallet so that they can sync with the network or something like that. What's up, Johns? Cracking up there.
I think we're laughing at the same thing.
No, go on, sorry, go on.
Cool, awesome. Okay, Bosch, so you'd prefer to assign things. So.
Oh, yeah, shit, sorry, I'm on mic on it. That was my bad. I was trying to chat me my mic. I was eating a packet of chips.
Oh, I thought you were crushing bones back there. Somebody crossed you. Okay, cool. The toglifying unified QR codes. Is that something you're also doing, Bosch?
Yeah, I might as well, yeah. I've been kind of working on that requesting page quite a bit, so happy to take that on. I don't think that would take long to do either. I like pretty much what you proposed was, I think, pretty good solution, so.
Yeah, one of the bigger tasks that's not in here that I need to do is review all of the screenshots in the guide in onboarding and payments for consistency, and update the UI kit to match everything. That's because I would like the UI kit to very closely match. So if somebody sees a screen here or a whole user flow, you can just say, hey, it's in the UI kit. Just there you go. Just work with it. But it's just like a bigger organizational task that's not in here in the milestone. Background monitoring. Okay.
There's a late payment one. Probably need to add some content to the activity page as well as the payments page on that.
Which one?
Just if anyone wants to tackle that. The delayed payments one.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, that issue that you had up on your screen when I jumped on the call, I'd like to give that a shot as my first issue. This one, exactly.
Okay, awesome. It's
So
currently assigned to Pav.
I have no
Awesome.
idea what my.
So I think what you have to do is once you comment on that issue and say
Okay.
something like, I'd like to do this or so, then I will have the ability to assign this to you. I think that's how it works.
Cool. All right, will do.
For it already, in case you want to improve them, I basically just duplicated something and then tried to copy and paste text into it. So I'll try to dig that Figma file. It may be helpful to you as well, because I tried to pull out the most important information and visualize it basically, since there is a ton of text there, and yeah, you don't want to like put all the text on visuals. So maybe that can be helpful to you. I'll just DM you the link to that Figma if I manage to find it, hopefully.
Thanks, Pavel.
Yeah, and this is the page we're talking about. So getting to know your users, excellent place to say, hey, here are 4 personas that are based on this user research. Here's how they differ. Here are some simple sheets you can use to work with them for your own product. And always, of course, link back to the original research. So that's an excellent place to integrate some in-depth research. And the reason why I dug that one up earlier and picked on Mo earlier was because we've had a lot of conversations in the background around integrating research into the guide and how to start and how to go about it. And so just earlier, I stumbled upon this one. And since it's already started, there's really good material here. I thought this was an excellent one to kick things off. Do you add anything to that, Mo?
You know that I could add a lot to it, so I'm not going to get started.
Okay.
That's a different conversation on its own. But just like because I see John's and Pavel are both on the call, is that I was going to do like a write-up of the wallet sprint that we've done, literally just like a Google document, like just literally everything that we've done, copy and paste a couple of things that John put in the channel, literally just copy and paste that straight in with regard to the persona and like the problem that we were trying to solve, that kind of thing. And then I'll just share it in the wallet improvement project, kind of just like a write-up of what we did. And I think it might be interesting to kind of then, because I think at the end of every UX process, you kind of reflect on how you did it and what you could have done better. And I think that might be a nice exercise for us to do as well. And then, just create a title, what could we have done better next time? And then everyone kind of just throws in stuff in there.
So basically, how do you call that? Case study in a way.
Yeah,
a brief
exactly.
case study. That's exactly what I wanted to do as well. I think that's an awesome idea. We should document that. But maybe Jones and I discussed like maybe 10 minutes before this call that we should schedule like at least one more call to discuss the prototypes you all guys made. So maybe we'll schedule it for Wednesday, hopefully, and then maybe once we do that, then we'll have like complete picture for the case studies. And if you would like to tackle that, that would be very useful, I think, to have some.
I'd love to do that. I genuinely enjoy putting case studies together. Genuinely enjoy it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help you review it once it's done and whatever you need me for. So yeah, awesome.
Absolutely. It will be a fully editable document, so it's not like my thing. It's everyone kind of can write whatever they want in it.
Yeah, and once we have like a proper section for it in the guide after the restructure, I think we can put all those learnings somewhere so that people can learn from it as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about what's happened is that we have like different prototypes getting created. Some people inferring their prototypes from others, and then at some point we have to figure out how we end up coming with like a single proposal for the project, right? So this is something that's not quite typical in like more corporate settings with the design sprint, because everyone's focusing on like one design, but our tools and whatnot may not necessarily support that, and like working asynchronously and stuff. Like people aren't able to like access the same Figma file without like, yeah, there's a limit on how many people could access the Figma file. So that kind of yeah, changes how the sprint, the final sprint deliverable, yeah, it changes what that is. So I think that would be also an interesting thing to highlight.
I think that's a really interesting thing that we tackle in the wallet improvement project is like you have all these designs from different people, and how do you kind of, so I'm curious how you guys tackle that. I'll just learn from you.
Well, I'm curious to see how it works out as well.
Right.
Cool, awesome. YOLO technique. Yeah, I mean, in the end, you have to, that's always a tricky thing. You have to find one direction forward that then you can do little by little that you could implement on the technical side that works kind of with the current design and leads you towards this amazing vision of the future that you just came up with. Okay, cool. Back to the roadmap here. So should we go? There are five more open issues. Adding Lightning content to glossary nodes. So that's a page about nodes we have in the guide. And we just need to, here it is, node. And it's all about Bitcoin nodes right now. We can add things about we have light nodes, but not lightning nodes. Probably fairly straightforward. I think it's easy to get lost in the technical details there, but if we don't do that, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. Anybody want to do that one? I don't think it's super urgent. We don't have to find someone to do it.
When I do point of sale one, if no one's doing that, I'll do it. But I'll do the point of sale one and then address that.
Okay. And one of the reasons why I'm saying it's not super urgent because nobody requested it. Right? So they provide guidance for mobile UX background channel monitoring. Somebody actually asked for that. So that would be. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question about the point of sale thing that Bosch opened? Because, yeah, that's a good idea, but is it like a single section that mentions it, or is it like something, basically a product? Because I think point of sale is similar to a wallet, but also if your focus is having a point of sale, or if you're building Bitcoin point of sale, there are like quite a few other things that your app should have in order to cater for point of sale. So Bosch, is this like, what is your goal with this? Like create a separate focused product section, like a wallet,
like,
or?
Isn't it more like this here, just one short entry?
Yeah, just be an entry.
Basically.
Overview, just saying like these products exist. Like it's just pretty much to make awareness. Like this is something that exists. Like it's a type of product. Probably not going to go into any kind of great detail, but yeah, it's just like.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I was researching quite a lot point of sale this year. So yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe we will expand once we have the structure improved. But yeah, okay, makes sense.
Okay, yeah, so it's an entry point, a brief summary. This is the type of product that exists, and maybe have a few links. Yeah, the background channel monitoring, it's slightly tricky because we can easily provide UX guide. Not easily, we can provide UX guidance, but the tricky part is more technical. Like how often do you refresh the app? What does iOS allow you to do? What does Android allow you to do? So I think there's some tough technical stuff there that we cannot easily figure out. But maybe we can just start with the UX side of things and just take it from there. I'll take a look at it. Channel reserve.
Would you put that content in like the activity section, maybe the guidance for mobile UX background channel monitoring? Because I presume you'd get some kind of notification that would appear in your activity list saying like log in or something like that.
I'm not sure. This might just be like a general toast or a little spinner in the corner or something that says, connections hasn't been synced in 5 days or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. Okay, but part of the task is figuring that out. Okay, channel reserve. Anybody know what channel reserve is?
Yeah.
Thanks to Stephen. Thanks to Stephen.
Cool. Would you like to take on that task?
Oh, I literally made notes because he did that design teaching session, and he was describing what a channel reserve is with sure, okay, I'll give it a bash. You're giving me something technical, but I'll give it a bash. I made some notes about it, so I'll give it a shot.
We could also tackle it together. It could be a group of people, because I'm not totally sure exactly how it works. I think you just have to keep a certain amount on your side so you can close the channel.
Exactly. It's like basically how we describe it is there's two people. So Sarah has the channel open. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. Sarah has the channel open,
yeah.
And basically she wants to constantly have a reserve of 100K in the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And because if she doesn't have that reserve, then it means that at any point she will have no money, so she'll have no liquidity. Mm-hmm. So she has to kind of keep that so she has buying power. It's something along those lines. And I only remember it because I made notes. Yeah.
I thought it was mostly for so you have enough funds to close the channel if you need a broadcaster on chain.
Yeah, so my guess is that this is something that's primarily under the hood, and that only occasionally users will be made aware of it in a situation where the liquidity is really low. They might want to send something, and then it says, well, sorry, you can't send this amount because it's part of your reserve. So it might end up, there might be a whole bunch of thinking required to figure this out, but what the user eventually sees might be a fringe scenario, and there might just be one message or screen that we design for it that explains this to them.
Yeah. It's almost like that the user is never in the position where they have zero balance, that they can't do anything. So it's almost like protecting the user kind of thing.
Well,
at least that's what I understood.
Yeah, well, also this balance is not something that some wallets like Greece, for instance, they're not like you have a minimum that you have to keep in there as a reserve essentially. And I don't know if it's different between different applications, right? Like a different amount per application. But by putting it as your usable balance, when you see it in your on your screen, then you think you have a certain amount. So let's say you're at a shop and you're trying to make a payment now, but it says, hey, no, you cannot actually send this amount because this reserve balance has to be used or has to be kept for X and Y purpose down the line. So this in turn can cause some user experience problems. So I think that's something also to consider around. Like, do we extract that, subtract that balance, that reserve balance, and show it somewhere else?
Happy to tackle it with you and make use of your technical knowledge, Christoph.
Okay, cool. Then let's assign both of our names here.
Probably need a.
Can't add you.
I feel like
I have to comment on this task. I think I need to add you.
Would it vary quite a bit as well if it was relating to an LSP? Because you say if you receive a Lightning, say with Phoenix, if you receive a Lightning transaction and they open the channel for you, isn't it only the person who opens the channel holds the reserve? I'm not sure on that, but I could be wrong. I'm just kind of.
Well, I think both sides want it, right? So both sides have the option to close, so they can't be screwed over. Okay. All right. We'll figure it out. Okay, next one, add content around how Bolt 12 send invoice feature.
I don't think this is a major priority because it's not really something you need to address unless like we're actually recommending Bolt 12 and have Bolt 12 related stuff. I just wanted to put it in there as an issue so we can keep track of it when we get there.
Okay, so using the Lightning Network to communicate an invoice instead of using iMessage, WhatsApp, or Telegram, what else people use. Okay, so we can leave that one for now. Create liquidity page, should we also just leave that one open for now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Stephen may have mentioned he wanted to do that. I'm not too sure though, but maybe we could ping him.
Okay.
So yeah, Mo said she's got to leave, by the way.
Yeah, just to pick up kids from school. I think she mentioned that. Okay, so I'll ask Stephen about that. I'll just ask Stephen. Steven's he's gonna win all the hackathons. Watch out, Jones. He has a thing for winning hackathons.
Let's go.
It's his third or fourth one now.
Let's go.
He's bringing it. Okay, and then other thing, we have these website usability things, but if it's okay, I would like to focus on just reconsidering the top level navigation because it's such a big one. And I think I brought this up in the last meeting too. I put together this document which describes kind of the use cases for the design guide. So and this is not something I just made up. This is from a year and a half ago, we discussed these types of things. And this is just writing it down again and fleshing it out a little bit. So we have the designer new to Bitcoin. We have a Bitcoiner new to design, like a project that wants to, adopt a good design process, that wants to improve their product. And then we have the Bitcoin designer, the person who's already familiar with both Bitcoin and design. And they might be in a project discovery phase. They might be trying to improve their design process. They might be tweaking an application that they're working on and looking for help. They might revise a user flow, let's say sending, onboarding. They might want to add a new feature, like, let's say, I don't know, channel management or something to their application. And so this discusses how for each of those people, personas, and these scenarios, kind of what they're looking for, what's relevant in the guide for them. Yeah, and hopefully, we can revise this together. I think you have edit access. So if anybody wants to hop in there and tear it all up. And then below that, I put in 3 different browsing behaviors. One is first impression. So I think there are 2 parts to this. Somebody encounters the guide for the first time and they start on the cover page and they want to be guided through very linearly. The second one is the zigzag approach. They click the link somewhere, they're on the guide, they're like, oh, okay, this seems kind of interesting. What do I do now? And they kind of, cross browse whatever they want, whatever they find interesting. And they obviously use different navigation techniques and have very different browsing behaviors. Then number 2 is the lookup. It's like a designer working in Lightning. They're like, I want to learn about mobile background monitoring. Does the guide cover this? Then, well, how do they find it? What tools do they use? Do they use the search? Do they, And the other one is the focused use, which is, let's say I'm also a designer. I'm working on onboarding. So for the next month, the onboarding section is the most important to me. So that's kind of the area that I will deal with. And so they will reference that regularly. They'll look for like top-level thoughts, but also kind of low-level details in a way, maybe some of the under the hood, how it works. So it's another perspective. And then I put in a description of all different content sections. Already doing 2 things here. Several things is renaming case studies to reference designs, introducing a new case studies section that are those single-page analyses that we discussed, and creating this how it works section that's kind of the under the hood explanations. So I was hoping that with this stuff here, which together with some visuals here, and also what Bosch put together, he spent a lot of time analyzing, I have that somewhere here, thinking about the detailed page structure.
I think that's an outdated one, but I think that first one's updated one. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think whenever you shared something, I pasted them in here for reference, but might not have been in the right order.
I think the one in the top left is the latest one. I think I've been editing that quite regularly.
Top left.
Oh no, sorry, that was
one,
in the screenshots you did.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of thinking about who the people are and what they're looking for in different scenarios. And this is essentially what they see in the end and what they have to deal with. We provide them with this structure, with these tools, and everything has to fit in that, and hopefully it all goes well together. So the question is now, I mean, ideally this becomes a really collaborative thing, right? Because in the end it has to work for all the people in the community, not, some of the people here who are just extremely familiar already with everything in the guide. So how does everyone think we should go about this?
Just do it.
Yeah, but how?
I reckon the
steps?
first step that isn't super contentious, doesn't involve a lot of shuffling around, would be just to make the how it works chapter. Just combine those sections together, like the private key management. We can move the units and symbols, like more just reference kind of material, into a chapter called how it works.
Yeah, so you would instantly start reordering pages basically, and just push it live.
Yeah, probably, but there definitely has been a lot of thinking and going through the content and seeing what if certain pages are relevant. And but I guess from the surface, that's what I would do. But there's definitely a lot more thought that went into it, I guess.
I haven't been on the since learning Bitcoin design sessions, but I think it's a really great initiative. What kind of learnings did we find out from how people are going through the guide as reading through it and stuff that could influence this process of restructuring? Ultimately, my stance is that it should be based on such kind of activities and feedback from the community, or at least gathering some data, some information about how people would organize the content, card sorting, etc., those kind of things, before just making these changes. Because I could see us making changes to structures continuously for the next years to come, as the content starts evolving and whatnot, pages become sub-pages, etc. So, have you learnings from this, from Steven's stuff that we can implement, or?
I'm not sure if there are generally navigation-wide learnings, because every session focuses on one particular topic, like the Lightning Primer or just Lightning liquidity or so. So it's kind of self-contained in that way, which is definitely helpful. Out of that came the issue of creating a liquidity page, for example. But I'm not sure if it helps with the broader organizational thing. I think with what you're talking about is we could easily just create some clickable prototypes in Figma, where everybody can click around the current site that's live, right? But we could mock up 2-3 subpages of an alternate navigation structure, and then 5 pages or whatever, and then just share the link and allow people to click through it and gather some feedback.
Yeah, there's a protocol Maze that can help with this as well. It might be paid, but other kind of user testing tools where you could just load in the Figma prototype, and then it'll create the heat maps and stuff, because we don't have analytics and stuff on the website, which is a obvious reason.
Intentional,
yeah, intentional. but we could, from using like other kind of software with some kind of like, supervised sessions just to see how people navigate and give them like certain tasks, like, can you find XYZ, and see how they perform, and then we get those heat maps from there.
Heat maps require a lot of data, don't they?
Well, I mean, yeah, but yeah, at least it's something than nothing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon even if we do it with like 5 people, and we all ask them the same questions about like, hey, can you try to achieve this kind of goal?
Yeah.
And we could test those new designs in this kind of format as well. I don't like if it's something that we want to like do the restructuring like straight away and get it like launched in the next like 3-week milestone, then maybe that's not gonna, like, I'm not gonna be able to like help out on that. But if it's like maybe like in April sometime, then I wouldn't mind helping set those up.
I mean, we could easily use the next 3 weeks to come up with to have some one-on-one conversations, to just talk to a few people, somebody who's barely ever used the guide, somebody who has referenced it a lot to practically implement certain designs and whatnot, gather some anecdotes. And then we could also use the time to come up with very specific mock-ups that capture some of the ideas we're having. And then for the milestone after that, we could, so this would be kind of the discovery milestone the next 3 weeks. And then the afterwards, the next one would be the refine and execute one. Bosch, what do you think? That's totally opposite your approach.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a lot of that's real necessary. I'd rather just go into it, change it, and like acid-based test it. Like if we refine things and change things, I think if there's a glaring problem with it, someone will bring it up in the community and people say something, and we can easily just pivot stuff and change kind of as we go. Like I like that more like fluid approach. Like I don't think this is a huge, like I think designing a whole new page is a lot more work than just restructuring a few things in the guide. Like you can do that easily in like a couple of hours. Like restructuring things, if we change stuff, then we have to change it in another way. Like it's not a lot of like design debt that we need to kind of incur if it's not the best solution, If that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's also not the thing, right? The what we were just talking about is ensuring that the changes actually work for other people. That before doing anything, like figuring first thing out what should be done.
I think if there are things already which are glaring problems, as Bosch mentioned, if there are things that are kind of like things coming out of the community, and then I think those would be like the first ones to start restructuring, because that's like, in a way, that's the feedback that we've gotten already, right? And for other areas which we may not have. Hey, Ian, welcome to Bitcoin Design Jam Sessions. For those areas that we may not have feedback for, or like for these larger changes, then we could probably go with that approach. But yeah, if there are things that are already kind of like obvious that have been coming up, then I'd say
that's the thing. But I think we have different ideas of what we consider to be obvious.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with a slight nav restructure, that just changes the content structure. It doesn't change necessarily when I land on the landing page. Do I see the most important things? That's more along what's here in my background here is, this is our current landing page. If your screen's not too tall, you see a giant image here. And then you have to scroll down to see all of these different sections, and it's just text, which is different than this one, where the content is much higher up. You have these visuals representing different sections that give you kind of a preview. That's rethinking some of the experience, just not just a nav restructure. So yeah, we have different things. We have the pure reorganizing the tree. That's one thing. And some of them are very obvious. like something, units and symbols maybe should not be in payments because that's a general thing. Maybe it should be in design. There are a few things like that, right? And Bosch, he made a huge list, and that's what I think all of these are notes like that. Just reorganizing a little bit, but that's not that. The bigger task is, thinking about the the people in this document, those use cases. Like if you're the new person, you just got deep linked. Like how do you how do you land? Do you get the right information that you need? If you're linearly reading through it, you rely a lot on the bottom, next, previous page navigations. Is that done the right way? So that's just maybe we just need to split it up a bit into further subtasks.
Yeah, I think so. And I like actually seeing this, and I haven't gone through the Bosch's Bosch's proposals yet, but I was thinking like if we were to like MVP this, right? What did that look like? And it's possible like this Figma one that you have with yeah, it's possible to like hot link things, right? So those titles and images in Figma, you could actually have them link off to the website itself. And with these pages, they are in a way new navigations, and yeah, they are in a way new navigations. And this could be like the MVP of that bigger change where you say like, these links are actually clickable, and we could update it based on feedback and stuff like in the Figma, and we could test people this way. While it doesn't then matter so much about the underlying tree structure, because if people are using this one to navigate and like coming back to it, then it's kind of like abstracted in a way, right? Like the tree structure is like abstracted in a way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and we might not even end up with the same type of tree structure either. That's the thing. If you start with the experience first, you might end up totally changing something else underneath. But just adjusting the tree structure means you're still going to have the same type of structure in the end, which you might not otherwise.
Yeah, but also what I'm saying is like these screens that you have both versions, they kind of like they don't depend so much on the tree structure.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah.
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 So how about we do this? We gather all of the individual changes, and we try to group them. And maybe there's a list of things we can do. Okay, that's no brainer. That needs to happen anyways. Other things where we can say, okay, this is an isolated task, like changing this page around. You could see that as an isolated task. Partially, because some of these page changes also changes groups pages differently. So but you might be able to make the argument like this is one task that can be done on its own, and then hopefully we can find some way to systematically go through all of this stuff. And some stuff we might be able to just do right away, and other things we might say, okay, we want to do a design prototype, or maybe we want to do a PR and implement it and just leave it as a PR and share a link with people. How does that sound?
Yeah, doing it like that, like having the PR open, like even if it doesn't get merged, like a good way to test and just do the live preview and share that with people and see if they think it makes sense.
Okay, how about we then create we have another call on this one, just to create that, to gather. And if let's say we create a Google Doc that says, here are all the things structurally that we may want to do. And we group them a little bit, we organize them, we add some context to them. And then we could also open that up to the whole community to say, like, yeah, I like this one, I don't like this one, like putting dots in design sprints. Bosch, should we try to organize a session like that?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
And we have to come up with something very practical that we can work through. We don't keep pushing it. Reading overkill here. Okay, we're 5 minutes till the hour. Yeah, cool. Anything else? The only other thing I had in here was reading group. The idea was if Stephen showed up, maybe he had some feedback from the reading group on things that maybe I want to do or add or change. There are some minor tasks, just more general tasks. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Bosch.
Yeah, that was the latest updates I did. There is a few things in there that are pretty probably would be pretty contentious, but.
Oh yeah. Okay, copying those Figma links here.
It's just the one on the left, like the new menu / open. This one.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else on this call? We have a few minutes here. Or anybody else want to talk about something? Any of the open tasks or otherwise? If anybody wants to has any questions, anything you'd like to bring up, like you see in the guide, feedback. Now's a good time. We can chit chat. Yeah, I'm wondering with if we rethink the experience, if there's other stuff we can do, ideas we picked up a long time ago, like implementing clickable prototypes, but not Figma files because of their tracking and third-party stuff. You know, maybe we can think a little bit more out of the box also. Maybe we could embed some videos that we've potentially done. For example, on like the Lightning Primer page, we now have a video from the Learning Bitcoin and Design session that just discusses this page. We could easily add that at the bottom for, you don't want to read, here's an hour discussion. Takes 10 times as long, but at least you don't have to read, you can just watch. Maybe we can gather some other ideas there. Pavlin X, how's our use of the roadmap and GitHub projects? You approve?
Yeah, makes sense. I'm just trying to figure out why the calls want to be added to calendar. Like it's been annoying me for that 10 minutes. So
okay.
Sorry about me wandering off a little bit. Just calendar won't fetch it. So just want to make sure that they appear.
Okay, all good. Talking about wandering off, we're about 1 minute 12 now onto recording this. And Figma, Jitsi recently has been known to automatically stop recordings between an hour 10 and an hour 15. So I'm just waiting for that to happen too. But maybe we can just wrap it up then. How does that sound?
Yeah,
good.
Makes sense.
Okay, Bosch, how about you and I just talk offline a little bit or on Slack, and we try to organize that call. We'll have it public, of course. Anyone can join, but I think you and I are kind of the key people to push this forward at the moment.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to stay on the call if you want.
Oh, you want to do it right after this?
Oh, after that's what you're saying. We could do it tomorrow or whenever you want.
I'd like to do a little bit of pre-work, actually, because I do want to brainstorm a little bit. So how about we could do it tomorrow. Let me see what's going on tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow sounds good.
Yeah. Anytime between like 10 AWST and 10 a.m., 10 p.m.
AWST, that's UTC plus 8?
Yep.
You said 10 p.m. What's ideal for you?
Any time's usually all right. Usually probably maybe between like 7 and 9 sometimes, isn't like because I'm doing dinner and go to the gym and stuff. But if you need to do it in that time, you can work around those things.
How about 4 p.m. your time? That's 9 a.m. my time.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Okay, what is it? March 15 at. That would put us at 8 a.m. UTC. Good deal. Awesome. I'll post about that on the Slack then. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Then let's wrap it up. Thanks
Yeah,
everybody for joining.
Do you want to talk about Bolt at all, Johns, by the way? Happy to hang around for a little bit.
Okay, I'll stop the recording. We can keep chatting about other stuff.
I'm just kind of sitting here figuring out. So just